Good evening, everybody. I hope everyone's okay. How you doing, Rob? Okay,
I'm doing great.
excellent. Right. So today, what we're going to be doing is introducing Amazon-sponsored ads or pay-per-click. Now, this subject is a bit of a beast, so we're not going to try and bite it off in one go. We're going to break this down over a number of weeks. It's just too much information to squeeze into one session. So today, what we're going to do is basically just go through the introduction and the first phase of what ultimately we'll be doing three phases, and all hopefully will become a little bit clearer as we move through. So let's jump straight in.
Hey, Paul.
Yeah, go ahead, Rob.
Well, let me just start with a little bit about why and how important pay-per-click is from my angle, and then we can kind of get into, I'm sure, where this great presentation is going to go. So, first thing, let's realize what pay-per-click is and why it's so important. People now often ask me, well, how am I going to get my product to the front page? Well, first of all, you can get your product on the front page the second you launch your product. As soon as you go live and Amazon allow you to do pay-per-click, you can be on the front page. Basically, all pay-per-click is the ability to be able to get your product listed on the front page as the first or someplace on the page as a sponsored ad. We've all seen them. There's a little gray mark up there, and it doesn't say sponsored ad anymore, right? It just says advertisement. What does it say now, Paul? They just changed it.
Yeah, I believe it's just advertisement.
So now you're able to basically have your product on the front page. Now, you can organically get there in some small niches, but in any category where they're selling hundreds or thousands of products a month, which you probably shouldn't be selling anyway, probably too competitive. But if you're in that situation, what you're able to do is you're able to place your product right there above the guy that's selling 50 a day. If there's a guy selling 50 a day, you can be listed above him on that front page and find out whether your product can compete. Let's think about this for a second. If you have a product and you put it next to the guy that sells number one, and your product's listed there, the price, the pictures, and everything, and you can't convert anybody to buy your product, what's going to change later on, except you might get another 5 or 10 reviews? Meaning, if you have, you've done your due diligence, you started out, you've got some reviews, you've got some things going, and you go test that product, and that product doesn't sell, that's when you're going to have to make a decision, because nothing's going to change between that time and the fact that you might be listed there organically. If it doesn't sell, it doesn't sell when you pay money, and it doesn't sell when you don't pay money. So you have to know that that's a great way in which you can first find out whether or not you have a product or not. And that's why we talk about starting with that small MOQ to do a test phase on your product before you go jumping in and buying 2,000 or 3,000 units of a product that you may get stuck with, because when you put it on the front page, nobody may want your product. So pay-per-click allows you the ability to be able to basically go to Amazon, just as if you were Walmart. And when you walked into Walmart, every single person at the door hands out your flyer to people. I mean, that's really kind of what's happening. Amazon's allowing you to purchase advertising and put yourself in front of people who've been there for a long time. So if you have a great product and people want it and desire it, and you buy these keywords, then you're going to sell your product, and you're going to be able to compete with the main people in that category, and you're going to find out whether or not there's an offering. Now, clearly, if you have no reviews, or when we're going to, if you've been listening, we push you to get yourself into that. We want to get you to 10 to 12 reviews as quickly as we can. That's the real number to get you started and rolling. Until we can get to that 10 or 12 reviews, it does cut back your conversions quite a bit. So once we get you to that number, then your conversions, you'll get a majority of them. You're not get all of them, because if somebody has 500 reviews and it's a very similar product where reviews don't matter as much, maybe you won't have a problem. But if we're something that's higher price, where it's reviewed and reviews are taken much more seriously, then you may have that issue. So bottom line is pay-per-click allows you to basically pick a word, and whatever that word may be, heavy duty hair dryer, as we always talk about, if that's your words, then guess what? Amazon will allow you to buy that word and put yourself in front of everybody else. So the best thing that has happened, and with Amazon and keywords, is that they're limiting the amount of keywords that people can rank for. So that's a big help. And so meaning one guy can't rank for every single keyword like they were used to, because we were giving people so many characters. Now we're down to about 250 characters per per item, so that they're not ranking for every keyword that's out there. So there's the possibility to be able to get in your small niches inside of keywords inside of Amazon. So I'm sure Paul has some amazing stuff we're going to share with you today. Pay-per-click, the most important thing. We talk about having the best burger in the world problem. The best burger in the world problem is you've got a great product, or you've got a restaurant with a really great burger and nobody knows about it. You should always continually, for the entire length of your product, be marketing your product at all times. Because it'll continually help you to stay where you're located. You'll find, I have a friend, Paul and I spend on one of our accounts, I think we're $300 average a day is our daily spend limit. And if you were to quit doing that, you would see your rank fall instantly. It's a crazy thing. Like Amazon, they know, okay, well, if you're willing to buy that, we'll let you rank. If you're willing to pay the most and you're willing to continually pay for that and you convert, we'll allow you to stay there organically. You can change it, and then all of a sudden your page. So if you're converting on something and the ACOS is, it's not costing you any money, why would you ever quit? It's just sales that you get. It costs you nothing. It just turns your inventory. So you're burning through your inventory better, and it's giving you rank. So pay-per-click, probably the most important thing after you pick your product. So how to find a product, and then the next big thing is making sure that you can let people know about it marketing wise. Now, obviously, there's a lot of other steps in between that are important, but as far as your success, picking a product with lower competition and being great at pay-per-click. And so it's definitely a big topic, and there's lots of stuff and information out there. What we're going to do in these 2 sessions is share with you how you can have these products and get them launched and be able to do the basics to get yourself started on pay-per-click. Now, this is just a basic setup. It's heavily influenced by our friend Brian Johnson. These are some of the things that the guys with PPC Scope are using, and there are other products out there. And I imagine maybe next week we'll cover some of the products out there that may be able to help you software-wise to be able to run your business as well. And you may touch on that today as well, Paul. So there's Rob's angle on pay-per-click.
And that's a really good introduction. And I think one of the things that you picked up on there, Rob, is this is not just a one-time set it and hope for the best for the week or so. It's an ongoing process, and it's a really important part of the business, as Rob said. So anyway, let's look at how to get started, at least. And as we move through this, potentially next week, the week after, or various different other sessions we may hold on this, we will get a little bit more advanced. But today, it's all about getting started. So we're going to be focusing on phase 1. Okay. Now I've got up here phase 1 setup, and this is basically what we're doing. And this is basically going to be broken down into 2 steps. All right. So the first step is all about the discovery. All right. And we're going to go through how to discover, and it's all about discovering keywords. All right. So these are, and as Rob said, this is heavily influenced by our friends over at pay-per-click, the gurus, Brian Johnson and his team. So anyway, the note on this particular setup, on the step 1, is you need separate ad groups for each product variant. Now, a lot of you will just have one single product, i.e. a garlic press, as opposed to a garlic press that's blue, green, yellow, and pink. For example, you just have that one single one. So we're basically looking at a single ad group. If you do have variants or variations or child variations, you need an ad group for each of those. And I'll show you an example of that later. So the purpose of this discovery is to discover the product audience and competitive brand name search terms. Okay, so basically we are trying to find out what is going on in the marketplace. And this is quite easy to do, believe it or not. The targeting type is automatic, and this is why it's easy, because Amazon will do everything for us. All we've got to do is set up the campaign, and Amazon will go off and discover these particular words for us. Now, the suggested default bid is 75 cents with a daily budget of $10. Okay, and the ad groups, like I said before, is a separate ad group for each child or SKU. Okay, if you have variations. The duration for this particular campaign is estimated to start with 4 weeks and then reduce the default bid down to 30 cents. So we've still got it running in the background. Okay, but the default bid is slightly less. Now, if you don't know what some of these terminologies mean, I'm going to go into that later on, so don't worry. So let's jump over to how to set up an automatic campaign. All right, so all of these are screenshots, and hopefully they're self-explanatory. So once you're inside Seller Central, you need to go over to advertising, and then you need to select Campaign Manager. Okay, so there's Campaign Manager under the Advertising tab. All right. So what we're going to do then is create your campaign. Okay, so just sort of this big orange button here, just create campaign. So the information we need to fill in is going back from that initial sheet with the setup notes, is we need to name the campaign. Now, we'll see what we name it in a minute. Set the daily budget. The daily budget was estimated at 10, and we're going to go automatic targeting down here with a big red arrow. All right, so then once you filled that in, is a case of continue to the next step. All right, so on the campaign name, I'm just going to call mine Discovery September 16th, which is when I set this up, 2017. Daily budget is 10, as you can see there. I've got the start date on the day I set this up with no particular end date. You can actually set an end date, but I'm just going to leave mine ongoing. And as you can see, I've selected the automatic targeting here. Once that's done, just press the orange button, which we saw back here, continue to next step. And that'll basically go through to the which product you want to analyze or advertise for, sorry. So here you can do the ad group 1. Now on my automatic campaigns, I just leave it as ad group 1. But you'll see later on when I do a manual, I'll give this a more meaningful name. What we need to do next is choose the product to advertise. Okay, and it will show, you can see here we've got 1 of 40 products. Let me zoom in so you can see what we've got here. On our particular selection, 1 of 40, but if you've just got the 1 product in there, it will just show the 1 product, and you basically see that there, and you go select, and you'll be able to select your particular product. Okay, in my case, I had to scroll down to find the particular one I wanted to advertise for. All right, so once I've done that, I've selected it, and I've gone with the iPad 5th generation black iPad case in our case. So again, reminder back to the notes, we were looking at default bid of 75 cents. So I've set that at 75 cents. And you can see down here, suggested bid of 63. All right. Now, what that means is that Amazon believe that in order to get meaningful results or get anywhere on any advertising whatsoever, it's going to cost you 63 cents in order to get shown or per click. All right, so we're above that. So if anybody puts a search in for iPad case, then potentially we're going to get shown because we're above the suggested bid, which is all good and dandy. Once we've got that, we've got the right product in there, we've got all the previous information, save and finish. And that is it. That is your automatic campaign all ready and set up. And you can see it down here in the red, Discovery September 16th, 2007. It's now running. And you can see that I've already spent some money on there, $2.75. Okay. So that is basically how to set up your automatic campaign. It is very, very simple. All right, very simple. So that is step 1. So discovery. So just to recap what we're doing here is we're setting up an automatic campaign. in order for Amazon to go off and discover what people are searching for. Now, the next part is a little bit more complex, which is step 2, which is setting up a manual campaign. So let's have a look at jumping into that. Okay, so this is all about research. So the research side of things is really all about trying to find the right keywords that are converting. So let me read through these setup notes for step 2. So the note is separate ad groups for each product variation, same as before. The purpose of this step is to test the keywords for the highest converting match types and find new search terms that you may not be aware of. All right, so let me read that again. Test keywords for highest converting match types and find new search terms. Now, a match type is a broad term match or a broad match. We got a phrase match and an exact match. Okay, and I'm going to go into these in a minute in the next slides, what these different matches mean. So don't worry. So this one is not going to be automatic. It's going to be a manual campaign. It's a little bit more complex to set up, but we've got a screenshot for each of the steps, so don't worry. So the default bid here now has gone up from 75 cents to $1.50, or whatever the Amazon suggested bid is. Like we saw previously on our automatic campaign, it was showing suggested bid at 63 cents. We were at 75 cents, so we're okay there. So depending on what category you're in, depending on what this default Amazon suggested bid is, now sometimes on a fairly competitive product or niche, this Amazon suggested default bid could be quite high. And if you are in a very competitive market, if you're not in a competitive market, it's going to be a lot lower. So you need to keep an eye on that as we move forward. And we'll have a look at see what we get when we sort of set our manual campaign up. The daily budget, this is the daily budget at around $20. Okay, so the ad groups, now create a separate ad group for broad, phrase, and exact match types for each child SKU. Okay, so again, I'm assuming that you've only got the one product, therefore you've only got one SKU, but you would need to set up a separate ad group under the one campaign. So you've got one campaign, and then you set up 3 ad groups. Each ad group will be a broad ad group. You will have a phrase ad group and an exact ad group. Okay, and I shall correct the spelling mistake once you get the slides. So the duration for this is around 6 weeks, and then you reduce the default bid down to 50 cents. Okay, so at the moment we're suggested at $1.50. After the 6 weeks, you drop that down to 50 cents. Now, initial keywords. What keywords do we talk about? Now, we've talked about how to find keywords. We talked about various different keyword software, keyword tools in order to help you discover and find various different keywords for your products. In this case, what we're going to be doing to start with is using the Amazon suggested keywords. And again, if you're not sure what that is, I'm going to cover that as we move forward. All right, so it'll all become clear. So let's jump into step 2 and setting up our manual campaign. So before we do that, I want to go through what these matches mean. So a broad match. So if you're not sure what a broad match is, now a broad match will spread the keyword that you choose into all kinds of directions. For example, if you create a broad match with the keyword scratches with a bid of $1 and a daily budget of 10, this broad match will then reach out to every search which has the word scratches in it as the keyword in that field. In other words, if someone puts in black back scratches made of stainless steel, you'll be able to show up. Your ad will be shown because it's got scratches in that search term that somebody's putting in, because they've got black broad scratches. There's our word, made of stainless steel. Okay, so that broad is in there, so it doesn't matter what it comes up as. Yeah, if it's yellow scratcher for my cat or scratches for my cat, yeah, you'll show up. It may not be relevant, but you'll show up because it's that broad. Okay. Now, what does phrase mean? Now, phrase match will show up every time your keyword is within the search field. For example, if you create a phrase match with black back scratcher, your ad will show up when someone searches for black back scratches plastic or high quality black back scratcher, for example. So the phrase means that it's going to be in there at some point. All right, so it's a little bit more focused than what it is when it's become broad. Now, broad is just like anything that matches, doesn't matter what. Phrase is a little bit more specific. So we've got, if my paid ad is, and I'm targeting black back scratcher. Okay, I'm just going to go over this again. Black back scratcher. That's my term that I'm paying for. That's what I want to rank for. Okay, if someone puts in the search bar in Amazon and they're searching for black back scratcher plastic, I've got those 3 words in that search term, so therefore I'm going to show up. If someone alternatively puts in high quality black back scratcher, I'm still going to show up. If they put in, for example, black back scratcher stainless steel painted, I'm going to show up. All right. So let's have a look at the exact. So the exact match will target the exact keyword you choose and nothing else. So let's have a look at the example. Black back scratcher stainless steel. That's my keyword. That's what I'm trying to rank for. That's what I'm paying for. Okay, that's what I've set my ad, paid ad for. You'll only show up when someone puts in that search bar in Amazon exactly that term, black back scratcher stainless steel, nothing else. Okay, so if there's a back black scratcher, so we've got the black and the back the other way around, I will not show up. It has to be exactly word for word in the right order. So that's the exact. All right, so they're the 3 match types that we'll be looking at. And that's the sort of the definition of each of them. Right, now let's look at setting up our manual campaign. Again, once you're inside Seller Central, head over to Advertising tab, come down to Campaign Manager. Exactly the same step there as the first time. Once we're in there, we're going to be creating our campaign, nothing new there. We're then going to be filling in our same information over here. Now you can see here I've got campaign name phase 1 step 2. All right, because you can name yours whatever you want, but make it meaningful, okay, at this stage. Because potentially you're going to be creating a number of different campaigns as we move forward with our advertising. So we've now got our daily budget at $20. Again, you can see this. I set this up the next following day. First one, the 16th. This is 17th. Again, no end date on this. Now, the only difference here is I've switched down to manual targeting with this big red arrow down there. Hit continue to next step. Once you do that, you'll be coming up with, again, the same information over here when it sets the ad group. Now here I have, because we're going to be doing the 5th generation black, so I've called my ad group this time, instead of leaving it ad group 1, I've name this something meaningful so I understand and I can track exactly what I'm looking at. So I've gone the short for black, BLK, fifth, broad. Okay, so I'm going to be setting up my broad campaign here. Now, again, I'm going to be scrolling down. So I find my fifth black. I set that as select. So I select my particular product in this case. If you've just got the one product will show there. So again, just select your products. On the next slide, we're showing the next area. So we've got our product shown. Okay, we need to set our bid. Now, again, we're looking at $1.50 as per the suggested guidelines. We're then going to go suggested keywords. You can, as you go, provide your own keywords, but in this case, we're going to be going suggested keywords. You can see the match is already broad. Let me zoom in so you can actually see exactly what we've got there. So you can see the match is already set to broad over here. Once you're happy with that, it's a case of hitting the select all. Okay, once you do that, it's going to drop all of these suggested keywords into the keywords selected field down below. So I've now done that, and you can see that all 73 suggested words by Amazon are now in my selected keyword field. And as you can see coming down here, you can see the suggested bid. Now, bearing in mind that we've got our $1.50 at the top here, you can see the suggested bids over here. Again, let me zoom in so you can see that. So we've got our suggested bid for this particular keyword as 56 cents. So we know that we're good because we're at $1.50. All right. 82 cents, we're good there. We're at $1.50. So we're above that suggested. So therefore, we know that we're going to get shown for this particular word on our campaign. Again, here, 71 cents. And you just go through this and check that just to make sure that your actual keyword bid is above the suggested bid. All right. Once you've done that, save and finish. Right? And you'll now have your first campaign, manual campaign set up with one ad group under it. All right, so you can see that here. The next step is to click the campaign name. So in this case, I would be clicking phase 1, step 2, the blue text. Okay, so I would do that because I want to I don't want to create a new campaign. I want to create another ad group within this campaign. So therefore, I would open up this particular campaign by clicking on phase 1, step 2 in the blue text. And that's now going to open up that particular campaign. All right, so we're now at the campaign level. All right, so let me just go back so you can see the difference. So we're now here at all sponsored product campaigns, and I've cut this short. We've got a lot more down here, but you can see the one that we've just created, the automatic one, that's down here. We've just created the manual. These are separate campaigns. I don't want to create another campaign. I want to create a different ad group inside this campaign. So I click that, and that's going to open up that particular campaign. And you can see now that we have our ad group, the first ad group in here, which is broad. And that's now running. You can see our 73 words that we selected that were shown up suggested by Amazon. So you can see that over here. We've got that 73 keywords there, and I've got one ad. All right. So you can see the information there. What I want to do now is create a separate and new ad group. All right. So we're now pressing this orange button here, create ad group. That's now going to take us over to the very familiar screen that we've already seen. Now, again, we're going to be naming this ad group something meaningful. Now, again, I've just used the same convention, but BLK for black, fifth, and phrase this time. Don't forget the first one was broad. Now we're doing the phrase. Okay, and again, I'm going to be coming down here. I'm going to be selecting the relevant product that I want to advertise for. In your case, you may just have the single product, so you just have the one product shown there. Okay, so you can now see down here that I have actually selected that, and it's down in the one products selected. So again, you just move down. In this case, you just scroll down. Now, this is where it gets a little bit, not necessarily really complicated, but you need to start thinking outside the box on this one a little bit. There's no way of changing this match broad to anything else. Not that I've found anyway. Then there may be a little shortcut in there somewhere. So if somebody knows that, then great. But what I've done here is I've clicked my mouse here in the actual campaign itself, and I've held my mouse key down and scrolled down. So I've selected all of these. Don't select all over here. Okay, what we need to be doing is copying all of the keywords. Okay, now you'll obviously copy all of this, match and select as well as you go down. But basically what you need to be doing is click at the beginning of the first word, then hold your mouse key down and scroll down so you select all of the relevant keywords in this particular area, right? And then do a copy. Control C is certainly on Windows. I'm not sure what it is on a Mac, or right click copy on your mouse. Okay, once you've copied those, you need to open up Spreadsheet or Google Sheets, whatever you use, excuse me, and paste in those keywords. Control V is a shortcut, or right click copy, paste even. Okay, so basically we need to be pasting in all of the keywords. What you do then is just copy the keywords. You don't want to copy the broad and the select. You basically be doing copy just column A. So that's the keywords. So copy all of those keywords. Okay, so basically what you do there is click on cell A1 or 1A, scroll all the way down until you've selected all of the keywords, and then just Control C or right click copy, or come up to the toolbar at the top and copy. Okay, over here. Once you've copied all of those keywords, you come back into Seller Central. You then do provide your own keywords. All right, so previously we were on selected keywords. We provide your own keywords. Okay, at this stage, really important. Should have put a red square around this one. Okay, what we need to be doing is over on the right hand side here, we've got a match type. On this match type, there's a drop down menu. Within that drop down menu, you can choose broad, phrase, or exact. We need phrase. Important that we do that. So you can see I've already got that phrase. I've now pasted in my own keywords. You then add these keywords using this button here. That will then drop them down into the keyword selected field, and then save and finish. So I've now got 2 ad groups within my one campaign. So my one campaign is, you can see here, phase 1, step 2. That's my campaign name. Inside my campaign, I have 2 ad groups. I've got black broad and black phrase. Again, you can see my 73 keywords over here in both of those. Exactly the same keywords for each of these ad groups. Next step is to set up the exact phrase ad group. You basically go through the same steps. Okay, so create an ad group, Once you're at the ad group stage, your default bid is $1.50. You've already copied in the keywords into your spreadsheet. So all you got to do is copy those again. Okay. Make sure that we select exact from the drop-down menu over here. You paste in your keywords from your spreadsheet. You add those keywords over here, and that will drop those keywords into the selected field. So again, we've got this exactly the same keywords dropped into this particular area. We then save and finish, and we're looking at a complete set. So we've now got our campaign set as phase 1, step 2. That's our campaign level. Within this one campaign, we have 3 ad groups. We've got exact match, phrase match, and broad match, all with the same keywords, all running at $1.50. And I'm going to run this for 6 weeks or thereabouts. Okay. And then drop this down to 50 cents. Okay. That is basically where we are to start with. Now, the next step is, that's basically what if you're at this stage at the moment, that's all you need to be worried about. Okay. If you're at the stage where you are looking at creating your own advertising campaign for your product, and if it's your first campaign, first advertising campaign, this is what you need to focus on and nothing else. Okay, I'll give you a quick rundown of what else we're doing and some of the tools that potentially you could use that can help you through that. But as it stands at the moment, don't worry too much about anything else, because you've got 4 to 6 weeks of running this particular set of ads and campaigns before we worry about anything else. Because there is a lot more to come. Now, the next step is profitable campaign. And I'm not going to go through this now, but I'll just explain exactly what it is. Okay. Again, in the same format. Note, one single campaign, one single ad group. Now, the purpose of this is to protect profitable keywords and maintain average campaign click-through rate, or CTR, commonly known, above 0.7%. So it's a click-through rate of anything above 0.7. Again, it's going to be a manual targeting campaign. Default bid is $2, and the budget will be $50 or more. Now, as Rob mentioned to start with, we're looking after a number of accounts, and one of the particular accounts, I think our daily average is about $300 at the moment per day. Duration, ongoing. Do not stop. Okay, this is a do not stop campaign, always running while you've got products in, that is. Okay, so that is basically where we are now. What I'd like to do now is just switch over to another couple of slides I've got, and again, this is courteous of Brian Johnson and his team. So I'm just going to zoom in here. All right, and basically this is where we are. These are the steps that we're going to be going through at some point. Now, this is you can't see the top there, but it's the Amazon PPC cheat sheet from Brian Johnson. Now, the following process assumes that we are private label sellers, which we are. We have the basic understanding of advertising, what I think we do, and we've created our first campaign, which we just went through. Okay, now the phase one setup is exactly what I've just been through here. Okay. So to start with, we're going to be looking at discovery. So we're going to be discovering keywords, potential keywords that convert. That's what it's all about. Okay. Step two, create our manual research campaign. I've just walked you through that. It's exactly what this step here is. Okay. What they're not doing here is telling you exactly how to do it, which I've just done. So hopefully if you didn't know how to set up these individual match types, you know now. All right. So basically what we're going to be doing there, step three, we're going to be looking at that later on in more detail. Okay. But phase two, once you get up and running, is research 200 plus keyword phrases. Now here it talks about using some of the keyword tools that's one we've mentioned in the past, and two, because they were free, and two, some of the paid software that you can use in order to help you within your business. Okay, so step four is all about use these products to target search terms as seed keywords within the keyword search tools. So if we're looking at our back scratcher, for example, we may use the seed keyword as stainless steel scratcher, or back scratcher would probably be a better terminology, a better seed word, in order for these keyword tools to show us more variations, like black, back scratcher, stainless, long, short, with handle, without, plastic, wood, for example. We're then going to be adding those new keywords into each of the match types in a separate ad group, which we've just done back here in the research. So we created ad groups for broad, phrase, and exact, but these were for the keywords that Amazon suggested. All right. And in our case, there were 73 keywords that Amazon thought that were relevant. And they thought they were relevant because they reviewed our product that we selected, and they looked at the title, the bullet points, and the back end, because we've optimized that listing for keyword and search results. Okay. So here, expanding our advertising campaigns, we're going to be taking some of our own keywords that we think could be relevant or would be relevant because they've been shown up to us using these keyword tools. That's the next step. That's expanding out. So we're taking more control over what we're advertising for. That doesn't mean to say that all of those keywords that we find are going to work. When I say work, they're not going to convert. So they may sit there, they may cost you money. Someone may click through and think, nah, that's not what I'm looking for. Therefore, it's not converting. It's costing you money because someone's clicking through on it, but they didn't actually buy the product. So it didn't convert. So we're looking for high converting keywords. Step 5 within, or the second stage or the second phase, is research 1,000 plus keywords. Now, I think I've told this story before. When I first started out in this business, in my business, I was really pleased that I actually found myself, I think it's 25 keywords. I was like really, really chuffed, over the moon. And when I spoke to the guy that said, go off and find some keywords, the guy that introduced me to this, he sort of laughed. And he said, well, in my campaigns at the moment, I've got over 1,000 keywords. Well, I nearly fell off my chair. Absolutely blown away. 1,000 keywords. How can anybody find 1,000 keywords? I have measuring spoons. Measuring spoon. 1,000 keywords for measuring spoons. Impossible. Well, I eventually did get over 1,000 keywords. How? By using some of these software tools. Now, back then, you didn't have all of these software tools available. But it's a lot easier now because there are a lot more tools available to us in order for us to move forward a lot easier with our business. Okay, so researching 1,000 keywords, that's the next step here. Now, again, we need to be creating different ad groups that hold more than 1,000 keywords. We're also going to be doing some reverse engineering, what I call reverse engineering or reverse analysis. Yeah, so that's basically taking your competitor's ASIN number, plugging that ASIN number into one of these or some of these tools, right? And that tool will then go off and analyze that particular product and come back with their relevant keywords. And some of those keywords you may not have thought about. So that's a very good way of looking at trying to find relevant keywords that could convert for you. Okay, so that's reverse ASIN research. Again, once we've got that, we'll be looking at setting up various different match type ad groups. So you can see this particular subject is not a simple one to grasp. And this is why I didn't want to go through in detail too much in 1 week. So I think what we've done to start with is these two sections here is enough to be getting on with before we move into expanding our ad campaigns. Now, once you're at that stage, once you're up and running, once you've been up and running for 6 to 8 weeks, potentially, there's even more to do. All right. And this is where it does get a little bit complicated sometimes because you're going to have to start to analyze your data. Once you start to analyze your data, you're going to be moving things around, changing different campaigns, closing different campaigns, and various different daily activities, which ultimately just turns into a weekly activity. So once you've got this fine-tuned, you shouldn't have to spend hours and hours and hours inside your ad campaigns if you follow the steps. Now, again, there are some, I'm not going to go through this in detail because that would just be too much. But just bearing in mind that phase 3 is all about tuning on a weekly basis and keeping on top of each of your ad campaigns. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly switch over to if I can pull it up. Bear with me, guys. Bear with me. I'm going to pull up our PPC scope just quickly. Now, this is the software that Brian Johnson has created. Brian Johnson, I guess, is deemed the world's expert when it comes to paid advertising inside the Amazon platform. All right. So on here, we've got a number of different metrics you can use, but the key thing down here is training. I want to bring you to the training. If you haven't got PPC scope, don't worry. Right. There are videos you can just search on YouTube for Brian Johnson. We will have some basic setup on our channel, but Brian Johnson is the way forward. And a lot of these are available on his channel on YouTube. This is Brian Johnson. We have had Brian on the show. So what we'll do is we'll redirect you to our interview that we had with Brian. But basically all of this information down here is training, and each of these videos are probably 10 minutes long at the tops, and they're really, really useful. So that is definitely a way forward. that I know we're a little bit short on the hour, but I don't want to go into any more detail with respect to where we are at the moment, because that is, I believe, enough for you to get going. So if you do have any questions, please ask them, and we'll try and cover them. Rob, if you've got anything to add to that, we can certainly discuss as we move forward. But as it stands today, I don't really want to go into any more detail with respect to what that is, as in moving forward into the next campaigns. So let's have a look at some of the questions. Nice to see you all here, team. Well done. Thank you. Right. Kay is saying, did you say that we should have reviews before we run PPC? Hello, Brenda. Well, ideally, if you've got, the reason why we're looking to get a number of reviews to start with is basically so that we've got some social proof. All right, that social proof shows us, or shows potential buyers, that one, the product is good because they've left some positive reviews. I'm hoping it's going to be positive reviews. And two, it really allows you to show up on the monitor, as in, like, when someone's looking at your product, you've got some reviews. That is the step. So, excuse me, that is the standard view, I guess, of people buying it. Is it absolutely paramount that you start with reviews? No, you can actually start a campaign, advertising campaign, straight out the gate. And in fact, that's one of the things that I believe Brian suggests, and that we suggest, is once you start, just start that automatic campaign straight away. Because if you're showing up on page 1, for example, in the advertised area, right, you're on page 1. That's it. You know, people are going to see you straight out the gate. So what better chance do you have, if you've got no reviews, of being on page 1 apart from advertising? So
right. But here's the problem with that, Paul, is that you're basically showing up to the party and you're going to go try to be in front of guys who have reviews, and you have no reviews. Like your conversions will be horrific. So you've got to get some reviews before you start turning on pay-per-click. I suggest you got to get to that 10. Now, how are you going to get to it? I don't know. I mean, like, that's, everyone's got to struggle to get that happening. You can go in, you can go into these review groups that are out there on Amazon, and you can swap reviews. People will trade, people will do whatever they can do to be able to get reviews. But you're going to have to overcome a dozen reviews, you know, at least 7 or 8 before I would turn on pay-per-click. Because if you turn it on too early, the problem is that people are going to see these ads, and there's going to be no social proof. They don't want to be the first person to buy your product and review it. So you're going to be wasting your money, because what's going to happen is people are going to show up, they're going to see your thing, but they're not going to click on it because it doesn't have any reviews yet. So my suggestion is, before you turn on pay-per-click, that you get those first 7, 8, 10 reviews, then you turn it on.
And we've been through how to get those reviews a number of weeks ago. And there's,
absolutely,
you know,
spend an hour going on.
It's not that difficult these days. I don't believe it's that difficult. And, you know, as you say, Rob, we've got all of these different groups. We've got our groups. We've got friends and family, and friends of friends, friends of family. You know, it's like you've got that broad net that you must be able to tap into. And if you don't have that, you've always got the jump send or some of these other review, not necessarily review, but product giveaway promos. You know, we've been through that on how to get that, and I think you're right. That is the first step to get that. Will certainly help. So hopefully that goes over that, Brenda. Right, there's no other questions coming in, guys. So if you do have anything, sort of, please shout now. basically, once we got this set up, then the next step for us really is to introduce you into those next steps, which I showed you here on this quick infographic. Is to go through this phase 2, and part of that will be product research tools, which we've had a look at some of these, going through how to do that reverse ASIN analysis, looking at some of that, and then start to actually how to analyze your data, understanding what you're looking at. You know, you've got all of these numbers in front of you. It's important to understand how to actually analyze that. Now, not everybody's going to be able to get PPC scope. We realize that. So what we're going to be doing is 2 things. One is going through some of the software, obviously, PPC scope being one of those. And 2, trying to do it manually. All right. And that is quite difficult, but we'll try our best in order to help you understand what those numbers are, how to get that data, and what to do with the data once you've got it. In other words, download the reports inside Seller Central. But if you do have the software, it's so much easier. I can tell you that right now. And again, it's one of these tools, and I think it's an area that is very, very important within the business, because, you know, paid advertising is an ongoing thing. It's ongoing. It's always there, always running advertising for your product. So I think having a tool to help you in this part of the business is very important.
Yeah, I think one of the things that you got to realize, we're talking about, okay, here's the bottom line. If you don't have $20 or 15 days to use pay-per-click or PPC scope for free, you know, and you know, you don't have $20 in your budget a month for 2 months to analyze your pay-per-click, which is the most important thing, then you probably ought not be doing this. I mean, that's the reality of this. Like, you know, sometimes when people say, well, I don't have the money to do that. Well, you don't have the money to be in this business. If you're telling me that you have no money at all, that you can't spend $50 twice a month to probably the most important part of your business, which is to analyze how you're getting to your customers, then, you know, you may want to redefine what you're doing, because I mean, $100 shouldn't be changing what you're doing. If you're that close, then the Amazon business is not for you. You're not ready financially to be able to take this on and start a business. You got to have a budget to start a business. When we talk about that budget, if you have a product and you're going to launch a product with $2,000, you need to have at least 30 to 40% of that money set back for marketing. Well, here's your marketing money. You know, I don't get paid from Brian Johnson. I don't get any money. There's no, you know, I don't recommend it and get anything. I'm not giving you a link. So there's no motivation behind the fact that you just need some way to analyze what you're doing. You're spending money. You want to be able to spend it the best, most efficient way. That's the deal. And Paul, maybe what we'll do here, maybe phase 3 is we'll open up and do a walkthrough of PPC scope on week 3.
That's not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea. So anyway, next week we'll have more of the same, but we'll be going through some of these other bits of software and looking at how to get 1,000 keywords if you haven't already got them. So that's all I've got today, sir, and everybody. Thanks for turning up. Like I say, this is a complex subject, so stick with it. But it's a very important aspect of your business. So it's one of those where you've got to learn. You've got to learn this. So hopefully we'll be able to walk you through each of the steps. All right, team, have a pleasant week and what's left of it. And next week, get up early and get ready for the business. Happy days. Take care. Bye-bye.